Coming up, the Iowa legislature is looking to make some changes to college tuition. How this could impact students next year.
All eyes on Sturts. Iowa Star collects weekly and national recognition.
A break from last week's bitter cold. All of your full forecast coming up in weather.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Wednesday, February 4th. I'm Liz Schultz.
And I'm Annika Perez.
And the third member of our team, Avery Evans, joins us live in the Adler Journalism Building with today's forecast.
Avery, ever since that groundhog saw his shadow, I swear it's been getting warmer, even though it said we have 6 more weeks of winter. Is that trend going to continue?
That's right, Liz and Annika. We may have 6 more weeks left of winter, but it's certainly going to be warming up this week. This morning, it is a current high of 9 degrees, and temperatures only seem to be looking up, so let's take a look out onto the Pentacrest. Today, we'll reach a high of 30 degrees, but it may feel warmer with some sunshine. It'll drop down to around 19 degrees tonight, but tomorrow we could expect highs in the low 40s with cloudy skies. I hope that groundhog brought some good luck to our forecast and this trend of warm temps stays consistent. For now, back to you guys at the desk.
And this next story may be triggering for some viewers. An Iowa City man is being charged with third-degree sexual abuse.
That's right, and DITV's Hannah Fideli joins us live outside the Johnson County Jail this morning with the latest. Hannah?
Yeah, Annika, Liz, that's right. I'm live outside the Johnson County Jail right behind me, where the accused assailant, Ramiro Gutierrez, is being held at a $37,000 bond. Now, Gutierrez was arrested on Sunday on two warrants, the most recent one issued in December. The assault happened in March of last year when he offered to give the victim a ride home. He started driving in the wrong direction, and when the woman asked to get out of the car, he allegedly grabbed her hand and forced her to touch him inappropriately, after stopping the car and assaulting her. Gutierrez had a previous warrant out for his arrest in November, charging him with third-degree domestic abuse for physically blocking a woman from leaving an argument by grabbing her. The woman told police Gutierrez had abused her throughout the relationship. Now, he appeared at the Johnson County Courthouse, an initial hearing on Monday, but he's awaiting trial at the courthouse in the jail behind me. From outside the Johnson County Jail, Hannah Fideli, DITV.
Thank you, Hannah. And President Trump is calling for Republicans to nationalize elections. This means that he wants the White House to control how Americans vote instead of the states.
DITV's Kenna Mertes joins us live in the newsroom with the president's latest plans and the nation's response. Kenna?
Liz, Annika, the president is making comments nationalizing the election on a conservative podcast, repeating his claims that the election fraud is widespread. He's calling to, quote, take over voting procedures in 15 states. Those specific states were not named. Trump administration is already actively trying to obtain voter registration lists from several states and discuss making changes to vote machines. The White House backs the president, saying his proposal referenced the Save the Act will require stronger proof of citizenship to vote, including voter ID. But elections are normally run by states. Legal experts warn that attempts to nationalize them could impact public trust. Critics say it also brings up serious concerns about the federal government overstepping. And Attorney General Brenda Byrd is collaborating with the Iowa Coalition Domestic Violence and the Amazon company Ring against domestic violence survivors. Ring has donated 1,000 Ring lines with lifelong subscription for domestic violence survivors. Ring X line devices are high-security premium doorbells and cameras. Ring is also donating $25,000 to the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Ring has in the past donated video doorbells and outdoor cameras to nonprofits that support domestic violence victims. Byrd expresses her excitement of the collaboration and the positive impact that it will support for those survivors. And a bill has moved ahead in the Iowa House on Tuesday that will freeze tuition for undergrad students. This bill would require state universities to suspend increase on tuition for students who are both in-state residents and entering their first year of college beginning in next year. Representative Taylor Collins, a member of the Bills Committee, said an amendment is being drafted to address the different tuition rates across the different colleges. Collins also mentions that he is hoping to discuss the amendment in advance of the committee later today. This bill does go alongside a file that moved through the Iowa Senate last month. From the newsroom, I'm Kenna Murtis.
Well, thank you, Kenna. And starting next week, Iowa City will be up in the clouds, but not for the reason you'd think. Drones will be used to help count the city's deer population. They will survey northern parts of the city throughout the day from February 9th through the 13th. Now, the city says this will help them gather accurate deer population totals, continuing deer management efforts across the community.
And travel down one street in Iowa City will be impacted today. Let's take a look at the map on our screen. Washington Street between Madison and Capitol Street will be reduced to a single lane of alternating traffic today. Flaggers will be directing traffic until the completion of the project, which is expected to be done by the end of the day. Construction is a part of the 2026 pavement rehabilitation project.
And an update in the Mayflower Residence Hall flooding. In an email sent to the Daily Iowan TV, University Housing and Dining has confirmed 20 students in Mayflower Residence Hall have been displaced. 5 suites sustained, quote, significant water damage, end quote, and several other rooms were also impacted.
And one of the largest retailers in the United States has a new CEO, and he has an Iowa connection. Michael Fiddlekey, an Iowa native and University of Iowa grad, has taken over the Minnesota-based retailer. Fiddlekey graduated from UI in 1999 before joining the Target Corporation as an intern in 2003. Since then, he's rose through the ranks, starting his role as CEO this week. One of his first acts, returning back to his roots, visiting the Target in Waukee.
And a popular Stead Family Children's Hospital program has opened its applications. It's the Kid Captain program. This program allows parents and guardians to nominate current or former pediatric patients ages 6 through 18 for special recognition by the Children's Hospital and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, these nominations honor their stories and allow the opportunity to go out on the field at Kinnick Stadium and listen to the crowd roar. They also receive a commemorative jersey and a behind-the-scenes tour of Kinnick Stadium. And nominations are open until March 13th. And spring graduation is approaching, and for many seniors, however, fall graduates are already entering the workforce.
Every year, over 1,500 of them begin the next stage of their lives early, graduating at the end of fall semester. DITV's Ryan Paris caught up with 2 of those fall graduates about where they're at and what comes next.
Not even 2 months ago, fall graduation ceremonies took place around the University of Iowa campus. And while the ceremonies that took place at Carver and Hampshire were smaller than what they will be in May, the next steps are still the same: finding a job and moving on to the next stage of life. But as it turns out, that's easier said than done. Abby Ballower graduated at the end of the fall semester and is still searching for a full-time job. Currently, she lives in Iowa City and works part-time at a campus gym.
I keep calling it like purgatory almost. It's just like, like I'm not a student anymore, obviously, but also I don't feel like an actual adult yet.
As a member of Iowa's Hawkinson program, Lucas Kroll graduated with a full-time offer for an investment banking position. He'll begin working in Chicago in July, but for now, he's living in Washington, Iowa.
It always seems to go by extremely quick. Like, looking back, it doesn't even seem like I had a senior year just because it was one semester.
But Kroll's story might be more outlier than norm. According to NPR, compared to 2024's 2 million new jobs in 2025, employers only added 584,000. So with each new class of graduates comes more competition for a smaller amount of opportunities.
My parents, my older family members, kind of the expectation was, well, you're graduating early. Like, why don't you have a job lined up? Like, what was the purpose?
For those still searching, the process of applying, interviewing, and hoping rolls on. From the University of Iowa, Ryan Paris, DITV.
Now, Annika, all this talk about Groundhog's Day, I know we said that it's not really starting to feel like we're going to see 6 more weeks of winter, but it's pretty cold out there today, isn't it?
It is so cold. I'm so sick of my toes freezing. Hopefully Avery has some better news for us. Avery, what does it look like out there?
Thanks, you guys. The rest of the week looks to bring a hiatus from last week's winter chills, warm enough to even give those winter coats a break. Let's take a look back out on the Pentecrust. On Friday, it will be windy and cloudy, but we'll manage to reach a high at the 40-degree mark. Heading into the weekend, Saturday will drop down to the mid-30s, but luckily the sun will peek through during the day. Sunday will be wonderful for an afternoon stroll as temps will return to the low 40s with sunny skies. On Monday, things are only looking up as this trend will continue with a high in the upper 40s. Finally, on Tuesday, we will reach the 50-degree mark, making it feel more like spring rather than winter weather. I will for sure be taking advantage of the forecast this week as the cold from last week was unbearable. I hope everyone enjoys these lovely temperatures. For now, back to you guys in the studio.
Well, thank you for that, Avery. And yeah, like I said, yesterday was honestly kind of starting to feel like spring break in March, right, guys?
Well, Liz, it is so far away from March. I don't know about you, but as the Iowa basketball team continues its run to March Madness, one Iowa basketball star, Bennett Sturtz, has lived up to the hype this past weekend in an award-winning performance. Against Oregon, Sturtz scored a career-high 32 points. He's the first Hawkeye with 30-plus points and 0 turnovers in a game since 2022. He also tacked on a 20-point game earlier against USC and warranting him the Big Ten Co-Player of the Week. Well, it's been his play throughout the season that has kept the nation's attention as he has been named to the Bob Cousy midseason top 10 list, awarding to the country's best point guard once the season ends. And following a win versus Oregon in Eugene, the Hawkeyes remain on the West Coast for a matchup versus Washington tonight. Looking into tonight's matchup, the Hawkeyes stand at 16-5, riding a 4-game win streak. The Huskies have had a rough start to Big Ten play, standing at just 12-10 overall and 4-7 in the Big Ten. If Iowa wants to escape the Pacific Northwest with a win, they'll have to slow down Washington forward Hans Steinbach. Steinbach leads the Huskies in scoring and rebounding and has 14 double-doubles on the season. Tip-off in Seattle is set for 10 p.m. CST. After a tough West Coast trip for our women's basketball team, they'll be back in the comfort of Carver Hawkeye Arena tomorrow night to face the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Hawkeyes are coming off losses to USC and second-ranked UCLA, putting them down to third in the conference with a record of 18-4. Iowa has struggled since losing senior starter Taylor McCabe to a season-ending ACL injury, but the team is looking to get back on track against the Gophers. Minnesota is riding a 4-game win streak coming into the matchup, but 10th-ranked Iowa leads the all-time series 61-27. And with the wrestling team following a loss to Minnesota, Tom Brands and the Iowa wrestling program have had some difficult decisions to make regarding injuries and their weight classes. One of the big stories surrounding the Iowa program is redshirt freshman Angelo Ferrari being sidelined with an injury. The 184-pound wrestler is currently ranked second in his weight class, but seems like the program is still being cautious with the injury. Gabe Arnold continues to impress, so he'll get the nod at the 184-pound weight class going forward.
We will put our best guys on the mat at the time. Gabe Arnold is very capable, and we will keep Gabe Arnold in the lineup for this week.
With Mo and Dean being dismissed from the team and entering the transfer portal, Iowa was forced to wrestle redshirt freshman Brody Sampson and true freshman Harvey Lunnington. Brands and the rest of the coaching staff are still processing who will be their 197-pound wrestler going forward. The head Hawk isn't afraid to use their wrestlers' red shirts either.
We have an open tournament opportunity this weekend. We have one date left for Harvey Lunnington before we would pull him out of red shirt. That would be the end of using him in a dual meet setting. There's an open tournament this weekend that we.
And it is Super Bowl week, but before we kick off the big game, the NFL kicked off its 72nd annual Pro Bowl games. Last night, the NFL's best participated in a 7-on-7 football game in San Francisco. The Hawkeyes were well represented, being tied with Notre Dame for the second most Pro Bowlers with 5. Cooper DeJean, Tristan Wirfs, Tyler Linderbaum, and Jack Campbell represented their respective teams. George Kittle was also named to the Pro Bowl, but due to his Achilles injury, he was sidelined from the event.
Well, thanks for that rundown, Cole. But, a lot of talk about Bennett Sturtz and a lot of these talented Hawkeyes, but something really special. Today is National Women in Sports Day. Isn't that awesome?
That is amazing, guys, and this is right up my alley. As you guys know, it is. We talk about Caitlin Clark here at the University of Iowa, what she's done, but also Megan Gustafson really paved the way for the Caitlin Clark era. She got her jersey up in the rafters in Carver, but also wrestlers Kylie Welker and Kennedy Blades, who are wrestling for Team USA, potential Olympians in the future, and Karen Jackson, who's in the Softball Hall of Fame, a good pitcher for the Hawkeyes back in the early 90s.
Cole, you really know your stuff. Is that why you wore the pink tie today?
Absolutely. I love my women's sports, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning or listening online on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We're here live from Iowa City every other day.
For all of us here at the Daily Eye, we'll see you right here on Friday morning.
Thanks for watching.